welcome to episode 410 of In Touch with iOS, the podcast that keeps you connected to the ever-changing Apple ecosystem. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg. Each week, we break down the latest news, updates, tips, and hidden features across iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Mac, Vision Pro, and Apple TV, all with insights from friends, experts, and the Apple community, because here we read the release notes so you don't have to. So let's see who is here this week. Great to have a great panel, and we'll start off as always in the number one slot. Jill McKinley, how you doing, Jill?
Well, I'm doing fine. I get called on like this at work because I'm early to all meetings, so I always get called on first. I am doing great, and it's a lovely week, and I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm so excited to have you being here. And also here is Marty Jencius. How you doing, Marty?
Good. Unlike Jill's experience, I went to one of those maybe I should retire meetings today. That was contentious and uncomfortable. And my whole attitude was, whatever turns out, it'll be okay. But there were a lot of people with a lot of investment. Yeah, so Thursday nights are the best. And I plan to spend the rest of the weekend making ice cream. So that's cool.
Well, there you go.
That's a good week.
Also here is Chuck Joiner. Thanks you for being here. How are you doing, Chuck?
Hey, I'm doing good, Dave. Marty just won't let go of winter if he's making ice cream. That's
no.
That doesn't quite seem to be the right season for it yet.
Inspired by Jill. It was inspired by Jill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, Eric Bolden is here. How you doing, Eric? What do you got behind you this week?
Good. Can I get out of the way? Yeah. This week is swans, tundra. Or sorry,
Trumpeter.
not tundra. Trumpeter swans. Both start with T.
Nice.
They look really
You got your
close,
swans this
but
week.
Yes. These are the swans I was looking for when I ran into the owl.
Wait, did you really run into an owl?
He did.
We had the owl last week.
He did.
I mean,
Two of them.
did you run into them or you just?
Well,
said,
no,
hey,
they hit my Prius.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
So
the Prius
hard
was
that-
at a stop sign. Like,
Oh.
Yeah, so
they
hard.
hit the Prius, hopped into a tree. One was kind of stunned, staring at me like, how dare you interfere with my argument? Yeah, it was the whole thing.
Yeah, it hit him so hard, you couldn't tell it, but they really were cross-eyed.
It's a good thing birds aren't real.
don't get into that again. Oh, man.
Yeah, don't get into that conversation again. Personal note this week, this is my final broadcast here in the old studio, which would be my old home. We had we were on Move Eve. I am moving into a new home, which I'm really excited about. But I had to make sure I'm dedicated to this show. Want to make sure we get an episode in this week before everything all goes crazy. Yes, next week I'll be having the new studio set up, and I'm excited to bring some more amazing content with all of you guys, and always the support of this great panel. So it's going to be some fun times here. I tell you, I've already doing a little bit of work here as we record, and tomorrow's going to be the big day. So it's going to be a tiring day. I'm a little tired already because there's a lot going on today as well. So, looking forward to it. But hey, there's Apple news continues on, but you have to keep doing it. And let's hit it here. A lot of stuff on Vision Pro this week, as well as beta. They had some new versions come out. We got a little bit of Mac and other topics that are hitting there this week. But first off, Vision Pro, as we do, is in touch with Vision Pro this week. They did release beta 2 of Apple Vision Pro for developers. And there really wasn't much that I could see that we really got. Just again, I think it's just they're doing some polishing. They're getting some things in place to validate compatibility and such. I didn't see anything after I updated it. We had it all prepared. Unfortunately, I've already had a little bit of a crazy technology failure, so we didn't have Vision Profiles this week. But we'll make it up a little bit here on this show. What did you think so far at the beta, Marty? I didn't notice anything.
The chatter, if you look at the developer notes, it is basically improving the foveal kind of the kind of view. So it now, when you look at a certain point, it will come into focus, and the rest of the stuff around it that you're not looking at won't be won't necessarily be in focus or as sharp a focus. That saves battery, that saves screen. So this is the kind of stuff that eventually will translate into glasses, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a link to in the show notes for the release notes. We'll give you some really hardcore notes if you so want to view it. Eric, did you stay on beta, or are you back to the regular version?
Thought about switching back, but no, I am still on beta. I was a little slow to upgrade to the next beta because I was a little worried after Monday. I thought, well, I'll give it a couple of days. So it's rebooting right now.
Okay. And then, well, if you would have went back to the regular version, Apple did release a version 26.3.1 that just came out today as we're recording. It was a minor update to the Vision OS, and it can be downloaded through the headsets as we normally do. It's fixing a flickering issue in the Apple TV app. I guess there was a little bit of flickering that was happening when you're watching sports content with multi-view in the Apple TV app. So if you're running the standard, which most of you are out there on Vision Pro, make sure you update 26.3.1. That's out as of today as we record. So, any comments on that, guys?
Nope.
Good stuff.
All right. So let's go into. I found this interesting article here about crafting the cosmos, the design behind the Apple Vision Pro's environments. And this was an interview. We sat down with Yuri Amoto and Matt DeSuro on the process, purpose, and art of building worlds. The particular quality and stiffness that descends within you, put on an Apple Vision Pro, and you find yourself at the edge of a mountain lake, or not in a room anymore, or you're looking at Jupiter, which we talked about that extensively, why they didn't have that released, right, guys? And I still use it to this day because I think it's so amazing to see Jupiter in the backgrounds here. So it goes through some of the technology, and Yuri is actually is the Vision OS product marketing team, and then Matt is on the human interface designer team with the visual effects artists, and shows how these environments are conceived and constructed. And environments are just merely scenic backdrops, and that's what they are. I think that we have a lot of great backdrops that are out there. They're really amazing the way you can have just that background and not just a plain old you're looking at your desk or you're looking at a wall. You can have these environments so you're always in the kind of immersive throughout this system. So I found this fascinating to see where these guys have gone with these backgrounds. I'm hoping that we go see more. We don't see a lot of them. So what are your thoughts on this, Marty? I know we always talk about this pretty extensively.
Yeah, I think the article is fascinating, and I think for folks who are interested in how these things develop, and how they're put together is great. I'm not an environment guy. Some people say I'm already on Mars, that I don't need to be surrounded by it. But it allows me to have some context for what else is going on in the world around me while I'm working on it. So even if I'm watching a film, I rarely go into cinema mode where I'm surrounded by black, and then the movie, I like to have a big screen crossing my living room, but I have never been turned on to environments.
Huh. What about you, Eric? I like the backgrounds.
Yeah.
I like
environments. I'm kind of with Marty that I don't want to be fully immersed because I want to see when a muddy dog that has just taken a big drink comes in from the side so I can avoid it. Yeah.
There you go.
However, you don't have to be fully immersed. You can just turn the dial back a bit and have just a little bit. And since a lot of times I'm using the Vision Pro and I have my feet propped up in front of me, if I go to take a screenshot, I really don't want my feet in the screenshot. So I have the environment turned up. It's just enough to cover my front field of view. And then I can take screenshots and they all look clean. I don't have, books and stuff in the background. It's kind of a nice mix. The full environment, though, especially if I'm working late at night, it seems to help to have kind of known sounds going on. So like the lake one, the water, or if you get something happening in the just so it's not totally silent, kind of helps.
Yeah. There was a good just kind of a quote here that Matt Discerno, he reflected on the Jupiter project, and it's a great example of designers, artists, and engineers coming together here at Apple, problem solving, innovating, and just finding ways to make this come to life, which is really a testament to the love of the craft of creating these environments. That love of the craft is ultimately what separates these environments from the spectacle. They are all demonstrations of technical capabilities. They are spaces designed to be inhabited quietly, unhurried, and the kind of attention that makes a user forget, however brief, of that any of it was made at all. So that nice quote there, really summing it up to what these environments can do for you. But again, it's not for everybody. I guess I can understand that, Marty. I don't use them all the time as either, and I think I like them sometimes, and sometimes I don't.
Yeah, I like to check them out.
Yeah,
I mean, most of them to me are just kind of foggy and cloudy and dreary. But the Jupiter one in particular is pretty amazing. I just don't want to work in that environment. I'll put it in and have that experience, but working surrounded by work with it, not for me.
I use them in my Oculus, and I like them quite a bit, and it's just not anywhere as near pretty as it is in the Apple Vision Pro, but I do like them.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's something that is can be pretty cool, honestly. Anything you want to add, Chuck?
Only that the environments. And I'm not a Vision Pro person, but the environments have intrigued me. The ones that I've been on. I know there are people that say they go and they do all their work in that environment, and I have to admit that some of those have been very appealing because they are so high quality. So, yeah, I offer that only as almost as a non-Vision Pro owner who has seized some value in that.
Yeah. I think a lot of Vision Pro owners do find some value to the environment. We experience it with all the immersive videos we've been watching, especially with the actively with the sports content, with the Lakers notably, to really. And even more. There's just more stuff to really experience here, which is really cool.
Yeah, I live in a small city, and I wish I was out in the country or in the woods or next to a tree. And so it helps me get out of feeling like I'm in a city.
Absolutely. Finally, for the Vision Pro this week, Apple Vision Pro users will get to see Disney's Muppet Vision 3D in all its glory. The Muppet Show Rebirth has brought Jim Henson's creations back into the spotlight, and fans are awaiting the news of the virtual return of the fan favorite Muppet Vision 3D via the Apple Vision Pro. Jim Henson, of course, was responsible of all the world's most popular entertainment, and even Apple has some in their studio. We're not here to talk about Fraggle Rock, he says, but instead a green guy with his friends that are a little more popular, Kermit the Frog. It's a great time to be a Muppets fan, and as Seth Rogen's new special seems to have successfully revived the brand, the longtime fans recently packed the theater for the first time in forever, and mourned the loss of the popular Muppet Vision 3D attraction that was there at the Hollywood Studios in Orlando. So it goes through a lot of the background and some of this things here, but I would love to see how it's going to look on the Vision Pro here, being at the theater and experiencing Muppets in 3D or maybe even immersive. What do you think, Eric?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I will just wait until I can see it. I have high hopes. Yeah.
Same with you, Marty?
Yeah, I think this will be a fun little thing. The question I have, is this going to be tied to a Disney Plus account? That if I want to see it, I have to have that account, or how this will be dispersed on to Vision Pro. So, it's an added value to having that account, but it's also limits the availability of it for everybody. But who doesn't like the Muppets? Who doesn't want to be immersed with immersed with Animal? And the band, yeah.
I love Animal. So we'll see what happens. Great. Continues to see some great content. So let's go ahead and move on to beta this week. A beta was released across all of the platforms. Apple seeded the second betas of iOS 26.4 and iPadOS 26.4. It's the second betas, and they brought across some new features and such that came across here. We've talked about the Apple Podcast app getting native video playing. They're doing end-to-end encryption with RCS, and the stolen device protection enabled by default. So kind of the same stuff we've kind of talked about so far across all of the betas here. The home screen, the edit menu on the home screen was more transparent, liquid glass. Games apps made some moves to the search bar. A lot of those little subtle things have changed here. Accessibility and they had some slight changes as far as what they did with beta updates. They may and if you had betas toggled on but don't install any betas for a 4-month period, it'll automatically switch you to the public release audience. That's a new one. So you even though you pay for a developer account, you're going to get forced to move to public. I find that to be a little fascinating. Why Apple would do that. So there is still no new margin characters. Gosh darn it, and a number of other features. So far, nothing crazy. I mean, Apple will continue to evolve this and see where we go with that as far as that goes. I think 26.4 is going to get released probably in late March for all users. That's going to be the next big iPhone update. And while we're doing beta testing, their track record tends to be around March timeframe when they go to a .4 update. So we'll see where that goes when the new update happens. As well as you have a couple things that have been added here as well. They did some changes to tvOS. The tvOS and watchOS have come out. tvOS is going to have 3 new changes coming. You're going to be able to customize how subtitles look. You can actually do them transparent style, which is kind of cool because subtitles get kind of distracting if it's kind of transparent, as long as you can read it. And because some people with hard of hearing, they want to be able to do that. I use them once in a while, especially the British shows. It's hard to understand what they say. So this is you can do it for classic large text outline and transparent background. So you got some more flexibilities. And they have an HDMI output setting called the continuous audio connection option for users, which is it's been added to improve compatibility with Sonos speakers. Interestingly enough, Apple describes the toggle as it's using Dolby Matte connection. Don't know what that is. Probably should look that up. And seamless transitions across formats. Older receivers might indicate Atmos, but the original audio will play as intended. And we talked about this. No more movies and no more TV show iTunes apps. Who does that anymore? I mean, if you're buying movies or you watch movies through Apple TV for Apple TV subscriber, then there's no reason to keep that going anymore. So those are going to be gone. So that's most stuff I've even talked about with Apple TV, honestly. They still have the 4K version. We're still waiting for a new model. It's been almost 4 years now since the last Apple TV device has been released here. So any comments on that at all, guys?
I do have the Sony, the Sonos speakers, and it's hooked up to my television that has that direct connector. So it will be nice to just avoid the television entirely and do it directly out of an Apple TV.
Yeah.
And I did upgrade my phone to the beta so that I could get CarPlay with ChatGPT.
Yeah. So what does a new Apple TV bring to the table unless they do full gonzo and turn it into a gaming device or with gaming capabilities? I would be hard pressed to say there would be any reason for me to replace mine. in terms of
there's still people supporting the HD version and the first gen 4K version. So it is kind of hard pressed. I agree, but I think Apple's going to have to come up with something if they want to continue to to press into this. Anybody else have any thoughts about that?
They may not have had hardware updates, but they certainly have been doing a lot of software updates. So the only thing I can think of is if all of a sudden they need even more memory to do something with AI at some point, then maybe they'll have to change the hardware. But until then, it seems to be working well.
Yeah. Wither Bucket gave us a comment here from our YouTube channel, youtube.com/intouchwithios. Sometimes the captions cover the credits. Older shows, and then the show show them as the episode starts, and then you can't read both. So that this is probably a welcome thing to be happening here. So that's a good comment, and come join us live. We're always here when we're recording the show here. YouTube.com/intouchwithios. Thanks for being here with the bucket. And Craig was here as well. Thanks for being here as well. And others are out there watching us in addition to here. So one more thing with beta, with In Touch with Mac, the second beta of Mac OS Tahoe 26.4 is now available for public beta and developers. There really isn't much things other than the big topic of the day was two things: a charge limit feature, so Mac users can select a maximum charge level from 80 to 100% for MacBooks, MacBook Pros, MacBook Airs, and then they did also bring back the compact tab layout in Safari for those who missed the option in earlier versions of Tahoe. Then there's going to be the Silicon Macs who are running apps that rely on Rosetta. They'll start seeing warnings about the upcoming end of support for Rosetta after Mac OS Tahoe in 27. Apple will phase it out completely for the Rosetta support. So you better get going on that. Same thing. This is the end of the road for the Intel processors for Macs with Tahoe 26. So that's it on the Mac. Let's go ahead and hit some of the more other topics that are out there this week. This one kind of perturbed me. 1Password. I've been a 1Password customer. I look back. I think I've had it for 20 years. I'm sure many of you here probably could be the same thing. And I have never remembered them do any of a massive increase in price since this is here. As I said, popular password management app 1Password is set to get more expensive. The prices are supposed to be increasing on May 27th of 2026. An email was sent out to customers this week, and I did get one as well. And subscriptions prices are going to go up as high as $12 per year. So the individual plan is going to go from $47.88 from $35.88. Family plans going up to $71.88 from $59.88. And the pricings per month for the individual plans $3.99 from $2.99 and $5.99 from $4.99. That's an increase of anywhere between 20 to 33%. So that's quite a steep increase here. And of course, 1Password says our mission to have secure, simple, and reliable, the whole mumbo jumbo. You know what? I like 1Password. I was very perturbed about it at first, but then there was an article I saw our friend Adam Engst and Tidbits had said that he started talking about. He has an article there as well. I'll make sure that's in the show notes. But then he got an email later said, "Oh, you're grandfathered into this legacy plan." And I think I kind of was too, because I canceled that. I went back and renewed it, and I still have the same price, the old price. So maybe they're taking care of customers that have been in the legacy plan for all these years. I'm hoping to see more and more people say that, but it's kind of sad to see that this is happening. But I understand too. Times have changed. You got to do some increases. Got to take care of how things are changing. 1Password's not the same company it used to be 20 years ago. It was a nice small company. We always got great service. Got a lot of people you could talk to. We'd have them come to our Mac user groups all the time and talk. And we also have a lot of cool friends that were part of Agile Bits who owns 1Password. So, but it is what it is. Chuck, I'm gonna start with you. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, Dave, you're not going to like me very much, because I look at this as just, first of all, 1Password had to grow up, or Agile Bits had to grow up, just like the rest of us. And the world has gotten more complex. And the salaries for people go up, the costs of operating the system go up. I always get a little weird about percentage increases because that can really challenge things. I mean, basically, we're talking about roughly $1 per month for a $1 a month increase. And for something that I use on a more than hourly basis, that doesn't seem like a whole lot to me to try to maintain my security. And so far, 1Password has never let me down. It's, as far as I know, it's never been completely hacked, like some others we could mention. And so, the interface to me is great. I know that some people got a little bit torqued up over it moving over to Electron, but I guess I'm just more accepting of something like this that I use on a really consistent basis, and I'm happy to pay for it to keep it current and keep providing the protection, as opposed to some other things that try to. And I am not picking on anybody in particular, but they're jacking prices up on those, and I use them once a week, once every 2 weeks, 10 days.
Right.
That's, I guess I'm willing to put my money in things that I use. Excuse me. I'm going to put more money into the things I use frequently and support the developers, because the bad guys are out there. The bad guys just get better, so the good guys got to get better.
Yeah, you mentioned Electron. That was kind of a little bit of an uproar earlier when they switched, and they had to do it because they want to be all platform. They were always like a Mac only app for so many years. That's why we loved it, because we were all Mac users here. But it's understandable that they had to expand. They had to get out to other platforms. They want to get the whole world to be using 1Password. So I got over it, to be honest. After a while, I was pleasantly surprised to see. I'm hoping to keep that plan, but you're right. I'm using it, and I'm happy with it. I use it every day. And Marty, you have other thoughts too, because you told me you stopped using it because you were tired of all the pop-ups. Right?
Yeah, well, since this story came out, it's like, let's go find out what's going on with my 1Password account. And sure enough, I found out that I had 2 1Password accounts. And so I'm looking at kind of bringing that down to 1 if I keep 1. They are basically identical. I transferred over. Right now, it's a library for me. It's an archive. I'm not in, it has some old stuff in there in terms of identification that is not relevant anymore. So I've really got to look at the use of it. What's been happening with me is Apple Passwords has taken over most of what I need to do to get in and out of automatic sign-ons. And then the other things that were like credit card numbers and stuff and other information are part of 1Password, and I never go back to look at it. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I like the idea of having an account there with that stuff in it. Certainly not having 2 accounts with that stuff in it.
No. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I brought it back. I gave in. I was fine with it. But you're right. It's something that I've used for so long, and it does so much more than I should be, that I'm not using, that I want to go back and start using it more. What I'm going to ask other panels thoughts, Jill, but you're a 1Pass user as well.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with Chuck entirely on this. Is that $1 a month, and it provides excellent service, and I know my stuff is safe, and people cost more. I mean, labor costs have gone up drastically in the last 5 years, and we have to pay for people, and so this was the least of my concerns. But I think that one thing they have to worry about is, as Password in Apple goes and gets better, there's going to be a number of people who will say, well, it's not just worth it for me, or I'm never going to get involved in it. I'm just going to stick with Apple. I can't get my friends to go to a Password app at all. And I'm like, well, at least use the Apple one. And they're like, yeah, okay, we get that, because we already have it. But to me, I think this is the biggest no-brainer for me. And there's other things I'd rather cancel than worry about this one.
Sure. No, I got over it. I got upset at first, but I'm okay with it. Derek, what about you?
Oh, I loved 1Password, and then work went to 1Password, and then there was a big kind of combine, because I had used an email account that was work email that conflicted with the new one, and then I lost my passcode to get into 1Password. So right now I'm using Apple passwords because I know what that is and I can get into it. And I just haven't bothered. But I like the cross-platform because for work, I was dealing with people that weren't all on Apple devices, so it was really useful to be able to go back and forth and to share stuff. At the moment, I don't need to do that, so I'm just sticking with the Apple password for now. Apple password plus secure notes, because I use notes a lot and that doesn't work well anymore.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I've got some links to the show notes about one article from 9 to 5 Mac said that there was Ryan here that says that he made the move to Apple passwords, and that's the only password manager I need. You're going to see a lot of articles like that, of course. I think Apple passwords is okay, but I do like the fact that 1Password is so much more powerful what it can do in the long run here. So
to get into my 1Password account, I had to find the long private password,
you got the secret key.
The key, and where the hell? So I went into my secured notes, and I have a note that I kind of keep a lot of content in, similar, I think, to what Eric's talking about. And sure enough, that's where I discovered I had 2 1Password accounts. So,
yeah, yep.
But that's to me, that's the thing. I mean, it does require you, because I've known a couple people that have lost their 1Password account. And they call up 1Password and say, sorry. I mean, so they can't get into it. That's sort of the beauty of it. And they suggest it, and I do it. You print out the emergency information sheet and take it to your bank and put it in your safe deposit box. And so if you ever need it.
You still have a safe deposit box?
Oh, absolutely.
I do too.
Yeah.
Far and few between you can find banks that are even offering them anymore. But
well, there is
my
that.
friends do too.
Yeah, yeah. But that's it. And Apple probably would have the same response. No, we can't help you get back into your passwords. So I like it, but to what Marty was just saying, there's so many other things you can put in 1Password and feel good about it being protected with the same amount of security. That it's something that I'm not sure that I would be comfortable storing pretty much anywhere else. So, for what it's worth.
No, and I added Witherbucket to the chat here, but he's been good with Apple passwords and Brave and Firefox, unless there's security risks to know about with these browsers. Ooh, I wouldn't use password managers and browsers. Sorry, Witherbucket. Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea to be doing that. I mean, Firefox has a good system on it, but I don't feel secure. I don't know where those are going, where it's being stored. Brave, even more. I wouldn't even trust that either. So, but that some people do that, and that's okay. And Witherbucket just had another comment here: the dangers of strong password managers, they keep you out if you lose the login. Well, yes, they do that.
Yeah.
It can happen here. So, but I guess I got links in the show notes here about people talking about that the passwords managers that you need with passwords, and then there's even a way you can easily switch if you choose to do that from 1Password to Apple passwords as well. And Witherbucket just says, but at least you know that the info is safe. It's true.
The bigger the pain it is, the safer it is.
The pain is. Yes, exactly. So that's enough for passwords. But if you aren't using a password manager, please, people, use it. You got to have it. And I talk to so many people that's like, how do you keep your passwords? Oh, I got it on a spreadsheet and I got a password on it. And I went, okay. Oh, what good did that do? I talk to people at work. Let me open up my Excel spreadsheet, all my passwords. And, okay.
My friends have a giant binder that is all old.
There's that.
Paper.
People have it.
And if their house burned down, they would lose everything. And yet they trust the password app savers in browsers. And I said, well, you really need to go to 1Password. And they said, oh, I don't trust anything anyone says. And I'm like, but you're trust.
Yeah.
But
I mean, even you having an iPhone or an iPad or any mobile type device, you can have complex passwords and then you feel safer. You're not using password 1234 on your bank account. You can have a complex password. You don't have to remember it. You have it stored there and you can put it in there. You can look it up. If you have to type it in manually, it sometimes happens. It's complex, but the chances of them breaking into your bank account are slim to none if you have a very complex password that you use. But again, that's all another story. But make yourself, this all I say is PSA, make sure you're using a password manager, please. All right, let's move on to another story here. David Pogue, he's been an amazing author, TV. He's done TV shows. He's on CBS Sunday Morning, does some great sets and stuff. He's been working on this book about Apple, Apple, the first 50 years book. And what he did was, he's a journalist, and he did post a short video and giving a quick preview of his upcoming book. It's celebrating the Apple's first 50 years. He says within just a couple of weeks out until the release of the book, he shared this video with readers about the 600-page book and revisits all of Apple's history. It's going to be out on March 10th, and it's already a top seller on Amazon's History of Technology category and likely to appear higher up than their bestseller when it comes out. It's deeply researched. It's got color pictures and stuff. He's been talking this up, and it goes. He interviewed 150 people for this journey, including Steve Wozniak, John Scully, Johnny Ive, and many other current designers, engineers, and executives. The book busts the long-held myths going backstage to the Titanic successes: 450 million iPods, 700 million iPads, 2.2 billion iPhones, and the destructive failures: the Lisa, the Apple III, Mobile Me. Oh boy, we love Mobile Me, and the success forces the challenge Apple's dominance as it enters this next second half century. So I'm look forward to reading this book. I want to hear it. I might even want to do the Audible version. Listen to listen to David Pogue. I'm sure is going to be narrating it. I think he is. So anybody here interested to read this book? Chuck, are you?
Oh yeah. I mean, first of all, we've lived through some or all of this time period.
Yeah.
And David always was one of those people that, I mean, in some ways, there are only literally a handful of people that could have gotten the entree into the folks he's interviewed and have his perspective. Yeah. I mean, he got his start at writing for Macintosh user groups and, ended up on the CBS Sunday morning show as a tech correspondent.
Right.
And he's done a lot of amazing things in between. So, and plus, the
missing manuals.
Yeah, the missing manuals. And if you're familiar with David's style at all, it's very approachable. It's very energetic. Yeah. It's very entertaining. It's not going to be a textbook. So, right. Yeah, this is one that I'm anxious to see it and get my hands on it. Whether I will own it or not is another question. But
I pre-ordered it.
Yeah, it's something that probably should have been done at somewhere along the way, because I think it's going to be almost a little more of a fan thing than some of the business analysis books. There'll be some analysis in it, but I think it's going to be a fun book to look at and look back on a lot of this stuff.
Right. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be anywhere near as the autobiography with Steve Jobs. That was a very popular book of its time, but I think it might be not too far away from that. Just because of the 50 years, it's just crazy how long it's been for Apple here. And anybody else here would be interested in going to be reading this book or wanting?
Yeah,
I think you would be. Marty.
I went to order it. I started last year. Last year, I'm looking at my Amazon orders. A Cult of MacBooks. There are 2 series in that, and I ordered those. And so when this came out, I was excited about it. So, and I heard about it on shows and in show notes and articles. So I went to order it, and it looked like I had pre-ordered it already in August of 2025. If that is even possible, because that's what comes up as my pre-order date. And this pretty much explains why I have 2 1Password accounts, because I forget that I've ordered something and go ahead and order it again. I have the hardcover version coming, and then also went ahead and ordered the Kindle version. So And the Kindle version, I mean, it's inexpensive in terms. You were talking for the hardcover, you're talking a 600, 700 page book for, I don't know what the pricing was, but it was very reasonable. And then I went ahead and hit the Kindle so I can kind of take it with me instead of carrying the book around. So
that sounds about right. I think he announced that he was writing the book, and then the pre-orders came up around August of last year. I think that sounds about right. So, Jill or Eric, you have anything with that?
I'm glad Marty said that, because I just ordered it, and then I went and I looked, and it's like, oh, yeah, you're right. I ordered that back in August, so I have to go back in and unorder that last one.
Eric, you are you're scaring me tonight, and I'm afraid I'm going to start taking up bird watching soon. I think there's just
sorry. Yeah,
just order yourself a nice pair of binoculars, and you can get started.
We can get you set up.
Yeah, you've already got me making ice cream, Jill.
I'm looking forward to the book, though, because I like to be able to go back and kind of look at some of the products Apple has made, and there have been kind of different trends and strengths and weaknesses and variations, and there have been a lot of changes, and we're kind of getting ready to do a whole new round of changes. So this is a good time to get a good background summary while you can still get it.
Is there a sense that this has illustrations in it?
I hope so.
I mean, that was the thing with the Cult of Mac books. That's basically what they were kind of coffee table books with a lot of text.
Yep. Yeah, that's almost certainly what this is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything
wanted to add, Joe?
I read a number of industry books. One that was called Apple versus Microsoft, that was done sort of in a neutral stance, because I was trying to understand this whole war that was going on, when I was too young to care. And back in when I was in school, and anyway, why did they make a decision not to put a CD-ROM in? Why did this happen, that happen? And so I've read a number of industry books that are very similar to it, but they're all from independent journalists. And so I probably won't read this one.
Well, you could go watch the movie The Pirates of Silicon Valley.
I did watch that movie too, yeah. Because I was just sort of interested in the battle, because you hear what Gates did to IBM, and I was just I just want to know what happened. But
yeah, a little over dramatic, but it was actually a pretty good movie. Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on here. Let's talk about BlueSky. BlueSky, the creators of BlueSky, came out with a new weather app. It shows a range of weather predictions for increased accuracy. It's now a new iPhone app called Acme Weather, released after Apple's 2020 acquisition of BlueSky, which ultimately was shut down. Remember, as they integrated much of its tech into the native iOS weather app, which is not so great, honestly. But it's primarily designed to address the uncertainty of the inherent in weather forecasts, and it has a different models that yield disparate results, and no two weather apps seem to report the same thing. Acme's answer to this issue is alternate predictions, which shows users a range of possible outcomes along the app's core forecast line throughout the day. So it's got some different things. I wasn't too excited about the interface. We talked about this on Mac Voices Live, but I wanted to make sure we touched on this a little bit here as well. Since then, Eric, we talked about the whole thing with you have to subscribe to it in 2 weeks, and you have to remember to cancel it, and for a free trial, all that stuff. We don't have to go back down that road, but I've been using it for a few days now since we downloaded it the other day, and I'm curious to see what people think about it now at this point. Marty, have you tried it?
Oh yeah, it's like I think I said a couple of shows back, I have to move it to my homepage, so I bump into it every morning and can kind of look at it. And initially, first show, it was like, meh. But, you get into it, and now that there are places you can touch and different things pop up, it's like there's a bunch of hidden good content in there. I think it's a little clumsy in terms of how to set up multiple cities. I kind of prefer Apple's where I can just swipe through the page and go to a different city with this. And I don't see that in this. I see it set up as a bunch of favorites, and I have to pull down and go to whatever favorite I want to go to. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with it. It has that dark skies feel to it, which is kind of neat too.
How about you, Chuck? Have you tried it?
Yeah. Well, no, I have not. I take that back. I was going to, but then the subscription thing pushed me back a little bit. And it's weather apps are one of those things that there's so many ways that the information can be presented that the screenshots look great, but if I remember correctly, it's at 1.0 or 1.01. And so I think
it's 1.01.
Yeah. Before I decide to invest even the time in the test period, I'm going to wait and let it mature just a little bit more. But dark sky was always a favorite. So, especially with the super short term forecasts, like it's going to rain in the next 20 minutes where you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they can bring some of that back.
Jill, Eric, you want to add anything else to this?
I like the community option. So you can do that with Apple too, but this kind of feels more like someone's paying attention, where you click the community tab and then you can tell the app what your specific weather is. So if you can get a group of people in your area or region, they can all report on what their actual weather is, and then you get whatever the app and the models think, and then you get reality and can kind of compare it, kind of like having access to a bunch of local weather stations, but it's real people saying, yep, it's sunny here, it's rainy there, so it's got potential as more people pick up and use the app.
I tried it out, and because I'm a weather a weather app fan. I've tried them all, and I liked it. I like the community aspect of it. But right now, I'm down to 2 weather apps. I love them both, and one of them is Carrot, and the other one is Storm Shield. And between the 2 of them, I don't really need anything else at this point. So it just didn't do anything, I guess, additional for me. And you can switch between models in Carrot as well, and it's almost a little bit more clean at this point because you just literally just say switch source, and then the whole screen refreshes with that new source's forecast. And it's a little easier than to see the faded lines on the grids, I thought. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how it goes because I will keep my eyeballs on it because Dark Sky was a fantastic app, but I'm right now very happy with my weather apps.
Okay. Speaking of Carrot Weather, I'm a big fan of Carrot Weather. Jeff Gamet, are you missing him this week? How you doing, Jeff? They added some new data this week. They had the Weather Channel data and new dynamic interface. And it is one of the most robust and versatile weather apps on the iPhone. I would really agree with that. It's even more amazing on the Vision Pro, honestly. I think it works really well on the Vision Pro. And it continues to get even better. But they're adding support of the Weather Channel as a data source, plus new discussions from the National Weather Service as a new dynamic interface. The ability of being able to switch between multiple different sources is really cool. Now, with Weather Channel is added to that array of data source options, and also data from the Weather Underground as personal weather stations is there as well. It's got tons of data sources. I really like the maps. I mean, I like the snarkiness. I know some people don't like that, but you can turn that off if you don't want to hear it. But they like to be snarky every day.
And the widgets, the Apple Watch widgets,
and the widgets are great.
Widgets,
yeah,
all good.
Yeah. It's just all good. So it's really hard for me not to want to stick with Carrot. I've been a subscriber for a number of years now, too. Anybody else here besides Joel? I'm using Carrot Weather as a subscriber?
Yeah, I like it when it calls me Meatbag.
Meatbag.
And also, it has some gamification that I kind of enjoy. There's the trivia question, find the location of this and this, and get up in the morning, check the weather, and then see if they have another search and find for me to do. And it's always kind of a challenge to really target it on a particular area. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun quiz.
Now,
Chuck, Eric, are you subscribed to use it?
I have enough people telling me that, saying nasty things to me that I don't need my weather app saying it to me.
You can always turn it off.
I turned that off, Chuck, so mine does not say anything mean to me at all.
I use it only when I'm on vacation and then traveling somewhere else. And then it kind of adds a homey feel to have somebody insulting me when they're giving me the weather. And then I also use WeatherBug because WeatherBug reports pollen levels, which in a way that's easy to read, and it tells you which pollens are out there from which trees and concentration levels. So if you're trying to figure out what you're reacting to, you have some hope, especially if you're in a region you're not familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At one point and I have a friend who loves WeatherBug too. At one point, it was kicked out of my company because we called it grayware. It was selling data and it was doing something nefarious. And I don't know if they cleaned that up since then. That was like 15 years ago, but check that out.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the news I have this week. Apple has acquired a company that you just kind of found out about. It acquires a startup specializing in AI-powered light and optics design tools. It was according to a new filing with the European Union. Apple has acquired the assets of Inverse.io, and hired its founder, who was the only employee. It was spotted and informed to the European Union last October of 2025, would acquire certain assets from and hire the sole equity holder of the employee into that company, adding that the company develops open source frameworks for photonics and photonics research, providing standardized simulation challenges and a public leaderboard for benchmarking and comparative design results. The company's founder is Martin Schubert, who worked as a research scientist at Meta before leaving to found his own company, and spent more than a decade working in advanced display, chip, and optical technologies at Google and Micron. So, Inverse.io's GitHub page says it aims at advanced AI-guided design, focus initially on optics, a space critical for components of AR, VR data centers, autonomous vehicles, and beyond. So another small company. It's a one-man show. Many comments about another acquisition. And yeah, they keep buying AI companies, but they still can't get Apple Intelligence working, right?
Would this be for camera? I mean, so we saw them buy the camera app last week, right? And now they bought this. Is it to make their cameras better, or is it to make the Apple Vision Pro better? I don't know.
It does say that, which science photonics is this, which is the science of designing components that manipulate light to relevant to the wide range of Apple products, including camera systems, displays, sensors, and LiDAR scanners. So yes.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder.
Yeah. Well, and I think this will also be really important if you have more than one person interacting with an object. So if you're supposed to be able to look at a scene and pull an object out and then hold a discussion with multiple people, someplace in a meeting someplace, you need the object not to just shift around all over the place depending on who's looking at it. You want it to behave like it's an object in the room that you're picking up and then letting somebody else look at it and somebody else look at it. So I'm hoping that it will help with that kind of thing.
Okay. Chuck, any other thoughts?
No, not particularly. Nothing that hasn't been said at this point.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. Ted Lasso. I haven't said that in a long time. Season 4 release date revealed and for an August premiere. It's got a clear launch window, and when the fans won't have to wait much longer. Its release date set for August. According to Hannah Weddingham, she kind of revealed it. I don't think she was supposed to do that, but I guess she did during an interview recently. And she says, August, I think. Am I allowed to say August? August. I think it's August. So her comment strongly points to August premiere, I guess. So it's been a while. 2020 was the first season. Season 2 was 2021, and season 3 was 2023. So we're 3 years ago. It's going to be a chapter for AFC Richmond. It'll have Jason Sudeikis returning as Ted Lasso, but he'll coach a women's squad known as the Lady Greyhounds. Waddingham has already used that phrase in interviews, signaling a fresh start for the club. So how ironic, it's going to debut. It places the series shortly after the 2026 World Cup in July, which United States, Mexico, and Canada are hosting. So some ironic stuff there to maybe even get even more excitement, right? Anybody thoughts on this?
I am this week trying to rewatch simultaneously, well, not at the same time, but alternating between them, Monarch and Fallout, because those are going to be released soon. And I have to go back to remember all the stuff that happened in that. So after that's off my thing, then I can go back and watch 3 seasons of Ted Lasso. So
you haven't watched the first 3 seasons?
No, I've watched I'll be honest with you, I watched the first and half of the second, and just kind of went.
You got some work to do there, my friend.
I know. I got to keep up with the Joneses.
You do. Chuck, you have anything?
Only that I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. There was such a great run for the first 3 for the quote unquote old Ted Lasso that now I'm anxious to see. I'm optimistic because they brought back so many of the cast the original cast members, and the dynamic with those cast members was so good, and you ended up paying attention and caring about them. And so, how they will take this and translate that into a new team is going to be very interesting. But I'm
I would be worried about it, but they also brought back Bill Lawrence to manage the whole thing. So we'll add some continuity to it. It's just not let's cash in for a 4th season.
And Brett Goldstein is back as well, I think. So.
Yeah, think about what. Well, I'm dating myself, but think about what MASH did when they tried to do a spinoff or 2, and it just it
All in the Family too.
Yes, good point. And it just didn't have the same. And because they were working with such a limited number of the characters you cared about, so that's kind of why I think the additional casting is important.
Eric, Jill, anything you want to add?
I'm just looking forward to it.
Me too. Okay, a couple more stories before we wrap here. Apple Sports app continues to expand into more countries and leagues. This week, the Sports app on the iPhone is available in 36 additional countries across the Caribbean, Latin America, including Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Jamaica, and a number of others. So it debuted in February 2024, and it really has become a big app. It's doing so much better with its interface and all this great stuff that's in here now. It's available now. So just kind of a PSA. And then finally, you now can follow both the men's and women's NCAA tournaments, basketball with the brackets in real time, showing matchups and results at a glance for each round. That's kind of cool. For those who's into the NCAA basketball tournament, that's a huge thing, especially for gamblers who love to do their brackets and the office bracket and all that stuff. So good stuff to see that this continues to evolve. Anybody want to add anything onto this?
There's a big Latin market. I mean, we saw that with Bad Bunny and Super Bowl and their intent to kind of pull in that Latin market. This in the Latin market seems to be focused on football and soccer. And I think with MLS now being part of Apple TV and being part of that account, this just seems like a good kind of way to tie in and pull more folks from those international markets in.
Yep. Anybody else want to add anything?
It's still fast. So they've added a bunch of stuff, but the performance is still good. So,
and I talked about this on the other show, but I'm really impressed with the golf part because it's really starting to show well, because they're it's not just covering the PGA Tour, it's covering the LPGA Tour, it's covering major and minor tournaments, and You know, major and minor is sort of in the eye of the beholder. But bottom line is that, I love the way it pops up and gives me the information without being obtrusive. Mine chimes. I'm not quite sure where that setting is, but I like it because it lets me know that, it's done an update. So, and I did not use it during football season, or I didn't use it for any other sports. So I don't know how it handles those kind of things, like on a Saturday afternoon when there are multiple games going on. But what I'm seeing here, I'm really, really impressed with the particular sport I care about.
Agree. Yeah, it is. So, okay, let's go on another story here. I found this a little interesting. Panasonic, that was the big name in the technology world. I'm sure, Chuck, you've gone to CES for all these years. That was always the big place to see Panasonic's doing what? Panasonic's doing this. But they were the big king when plasma was the biggest TV technology of the day. Or the article says here in Ars Technica, the Plasma King will no longer make its own TVs. It was the last Japanese company still manufacturing TVs. So it was revered for plasma TVs, but it's giving up on making its own TV sets. Today, as was announced this week, a Chinese company Skyworth is going to take over manufacturing, marketing, and selling Panasonic branded TVs. Skyworth is a Shenzhen headquartered TV brand. The company claims it's a top 3 global provider of Android TV platforms. Oh, I'm excited about that already. In July, research from the firm reported that Skyworth was one of the top 5 TV brands by sales revenue in Q1 2025, but they haven't been able to maintain that position regularly. And it was a big announcement. So under the agreement, the new partners will lead sales, marketing, logistics in the region, and Panasonic will provide the expertise and quality assurance and uphold its renowned audiovisual standards with a joint development. So they're kind of still involved with it, seems like. They were wavering with their TV business for quite a while, for the last 12 years. So I guess it was time since the plasma dropped and disappeared. With now everything, the LED and OLED and all that stuff. So Chuck, your thoughts?
Yes, plasma was king, and that was the one you wanted if you wanted the deepest blacks and the best when we were all seeking those kind of things out. And then the LEDs got better, and then we've gone through all the different technologies. This is kind of not a surprise because I'm not sure that anybody cares as much as maybe they used to, except that very small part of the market. And as the other technologies have gotten better, the gap closed if it didn't disappear completely. And I don't know about you all, but around here, even the dedicated appliance stores have stopped selling TVs because they can't make any money on them. I mean, they're basically now, at some level, depending on what size you're talking about, they're almost impulse buys. They are definitely disposable. Because if something breaks, you're not going to fix it.
They're so cheap.
Yeah. So, if you're dropping $2,000 on a TV right now, you are some kind of videophile that is looking for something, because you can get a decent sized TV that looks fantastic and not spend much money.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got my curved Samsung 65-inch 1080p TV that I'm about to be mounting on my new wall in my new house, and it's 10 years old, but it still looks great, and there's no reason for me to change it. I mean, I'm not going to be able to enjoy it even more once we get it all set up. So yeah, why change if it's still working? And when you do look at these new ones, I mean, you can buy that same TV probably now for like $500 or $600 in the US. So it's definitely something cool. Webb said something here in the chat here. I have a Sony plasma TV and a furnace. I didn't know Sony made furnaces, or at least put their name on furnaces, but okay. Eric, what do you think?
I'm thinking plasma TVs are hotter than I thought. If it's a TV and a furnace.
Yeah.
I after the iPad came out, I really stopped looking at trying to improve the TV, because an iPad that's right in front of your face is full screen wide, really bright, takes care of everything. And for every place where that doesn't work, I can use a Vision Pro. The only time that changes is when you have a group of people getting together to watch. And then, maybe, but the set I've got works just fine. I see no reason to upgrade it until the Apple TV makes me get something with a higher resolution.
Yep. Jill, Marty, anything you want to add?
What's it like to have a group of people, Eric, is my question. I think consumers have changed how they consume media. Eric, I think, has given a good example of that with the iPad. We have this blank wall in our living room that I have dreamed to put a nice big television up, and Aileen is like, nope, not going to do that. We don't need more screens in this house. And so everything I consume is about 15 inches away from me. On one of the 3 monitors that I have, and that's how I can consume it. I'm in my office. It doesn't disturb anybody else. I have headphones on, and if I'm traveling, it's Vision Pro, it's iPad, it's even the phone hanging from the back seat of the person who's on the plane in front of me. So. Yeah, I just and I've got a 43-inch television up here in the corner, and with dreams of turning it on, and it goes on maybe once or twice a year. So it's just not how I'm consuming media, and I think younger generations is the same thing. They're not necessarily looking at large televisions; they're consuming it on smaller devices.
Yep.
I just
all right.
I mentioned that I have 4 monitors here in front of me, but I should have mentioned the 5th television that's right over there. And I just replaced both of my televisions last Black Friday. And you're right, the one downstairs was $320 and is 55-inch. This one was a little bit more at $450 and is an LG. And you can't make money at it anymore. You think it's just all those companies, Magnavox and Panasonic and all these companies that were known for the TV.
Magnavox.
And they're gone because making it profitable is insane now and the only way to do it is to sell your data. So then all you can do is just put a box on it so they don't. It's a weird world we're in right now, but they're beautiful and they're $300.
Like RCA Westinghouse.
Westinghouse,
the big names, right? Now those are all just names they pay for.
And Westinghouse, I think, was founded by Tesla, right? I mean, it's a historic company, or Edison or something like that.
No, Edison wasn't Tesla.
Yeah.
Westinghouse is a very old company.
Yeah.
It's sold its name and it's just they put the brand name on who knows what TV.
But I was looking for a small TV for my bedroom and I could get one for $157. And I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
How small, Jill?
So
I'm curious. When 157, how small is?
I think it was 45 because I don't need much. So, my room's not big.
Yeah, so think about that. A 45-inch TV we would have killed for.
Right.
A lot. What used to be when you say a small TV, we're talking a 12-inch screen, and that would have been a small TV.
27-inch TVs was like a thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
So. I mean, I remember my 19-inch tube TV. I mean, when I worked at Service Merchandise, I had all those big TVs and I had to move up on the shelves all the time. And I saw those TVs, all those tube TVs that weighed a ton.
Yep.
I think I said to my friend, she was dating a guy who had a 27-inch television. I said, you just have to marry him so we could watch these movies here all the time. She did, but not for the TV.
Yeah.
That's your story.
So going on another, 2 more stories here real quick. This company Samsung announced some phone called the S26. It was an Android phone, but they did do something interesting. They put a privacy display, and we think maybe potentially that could make privacy screens obsolete. They introduced the first privacy screen ever built into a cell phone. Its new privacy display can narrow the pixel light on your phone so it's only visible to you. The new privacy display feature can be toggled on and off, so it's a physical thing, so you can turn it off, which is a good thing. And it's only going to be available in the Galaxy S26 Ultra. And people, the article says, people, it's hard not to want to just kind of look over when you're sitting next to somebody, especially on a plane, and you can kind of do it. You shouldn't do it. I try not to. I like, and look, and then I just walk away. I'm like, why would you look at that? Guy's doing his spreadsheets and intense work on something on his laptop, and I was like, that's good. You really should be not keeping that out in public. But I know, Chuck, you're a big screen protector fan. You like to have it on your iPhones, but I don't know if you've got into the privacy screen area. I think it's I think it's a definitely something that Apple might need to look into. I don't know if it's Samsung's technology or not, but to have it built in is pretty amazing.
Well, the story on that is it's Samsung Displays that made that, and Samsung Displays to say, right. Samsung Displays will sell to anybody who wants to buy it. So, in fact, Apple's fold phone is supposed to, the creaseless fold phone that's coming out is coming from a Samsung display. So it could be that Apple has this technology in the next round. Supposedly the foldable screen that is going to be on the iPhone Fold will come out on the iPhone Fold first and then be passed on to Samsung. So the Samsung Display is a separate company, is going to sell to whoever wants it.
Yeah. Chuck?
I'll wait and watchfully see. Every time I've invested or seen or tried any of the narrow focus vision thing, privacy things, I'm always disappointed because if I'm right here, I'm fine. If I go that much, then it shaves off half the screen, and it just, I'm not going. If I'm that worried about it, then I'm not going to bring the information up on my screen. And some of the things that people do put on their screens in airlines when you're right beside them shouldn't be put there in the first place. So, I'm not going to bring up any ultimately confidential things. I'm not going to access my finances or,
Sure.
It's one of those that, yes, and usually I'm the guy that's a lot more privacy advocating and privacy minded. But this one is, they have to figure out a way to make it better for me as the owner of the device and not make it something that I have to move around and scrunch around to try to make sure I've got the right angle on my screen.
Yes. Anybody else want to add anything to this?
I have watched people, and I try not to. You're right. I watched someone in a local company do a marketing thing for a local big company around in this town, and I was like looking at like, cool, they're doing it right in front of me. And then I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Stop looking at their screen. And one time I was on the plane reading my work email, and this guy was just looking at it. I'm like, can I help you? So you're right. I try not to, but it would be nice if it were just built in. And I hated all the privacy things my company shoved at me too, because they're awful.
Yeah.
Just ask for a Vision Pro.
Yeah.
It's very private.
Very private.
It is very.
This means I won't be able to creep out on Eric's, when he's on the plane next to me, creep out on Eric's OnlyFans page when he's going through his OnlyFans.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm filming, you still can.
Yeah. Another aspect of this that I read about was it will have normal screen, so a normal pixel looking screen.
Yeah.
But you can set it so your notifications come, and the notification comes up with the privacy piece as part of it. So anybody sitting the site will not be able to see your pop-up messages or messages as they come up. It's an interesting technology. I agree with Chuck. Let's see what happens with it. But I personally don't have a lot of use for it.
I so badly want. Sorry, Marty.
And I was going to say, and what Chuck has pointed out, it's really the best privacy you can have is common sense by the user. Is like, just don't look at that stuff on a plane.
Yeah, but I so badly when I find somebody doing that, I really want to compose an email to an alleged stockbroker saying, just got a hot tip. Please buy 10,000 shares of, Acme Incorporated. It's going to double in the next week, and let them read it.
I worked for a company that demanded you work 24/7, and that when you had a phone, you read your email every instant, that you were awake, that you were on a plane. And, it's just kind of the part of it. And I didn't like it because it didn't feel private, but it was expected.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go ahead and wrap up the show for this week. But before that, let's find out where everybody can be found. And I'm so glad you all were here this week. Let's start off with Eric Bolden. Where can people find you, Eric?
I can be found on Mastodon at GABolden at mas.to. Otherwise, Monday nights talking about Vision Pro stuff on Vision Profiles. Tuesdays talking about Mac news and whatever interesting things have happened early in the week on Mac Voices Live. And then, of course, here on In Touch with iOS on Thursdays, finishing out the week's news and covering everything else that's come up since earlier in the week.
Thanks so much, Eric. And Chuck Joiner, as always, thank you for being here. It's always great to have you. Where can people find you?
Hey, Dave, thank you. It's always fun. MacVoices.com is where you'll see all the interviews, audio and video that we do, along with some other things that will be coming out is in the next couple months or so. YouTube.com/MacVoicesTV on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern is where you'll find the live show. Come and join in. And on the socials, you can find me as at Chuck Joiner.
Thanks. Marty Jencius, thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
Thanks for doing this, especially night before you move. And I think that shows some dedication, and it's fun. Thursday nights are just great. I'm ditto to what everything that Chuck and Eric has said. Monday nights, Vision Profiles. Tuesdays with Chuck's show, and then Thursdays here with In Touch with iOS. And you want to find out what else I'm doing, just go to thepodtalk.net, the website, thepodtalk.net.
Absolutely. There's the cup. And last but certainly not least, Jill McKinley, thank you so much for being here as always. Where can people find you?
Oh gosh, well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and thanks for all your people. I love talking with all of you, and so it's been really great.
I do too.
You can find me on Jill from thenorthwoods.com. That's where all my podcasts are and how to contact me. And I lost access to email on some things, and it's all back now. So I moved everything to Apple Hosting for email, and it's all working flawlessly, surprisingly enough. So
awesome.
You can email me, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks so much. And that's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on BlueSky and Mastodon at InTouchWithIOS. Support the show. Buy me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we're live streaming, which is Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios. We had Witherbucket, we had Webb, we had Brian that showed up a little bit there, and Craig and others. Thanks for being here. You can watch the live stream, watch the past live streams, and you can listen to past shows. You can subscribe to the show on your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, just go to our website, which is intouchwithios.com, where the links to all the ways to listen to us are there on that site. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Monday nights at Vision Profiles with the Pod Talk Network with Marty and Eric. Tuesday nights I'm on Mac Voices Live with Chuck and the gang. Thursdays we record In Touch with iOS. Most Fridays I'm on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network, and not this week because I'm moving. And then BlueSky and Mastodon at DaveG65. And with that, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll be back in the new studio next week. Until then, so long.